This is the third time in the last 3 weeks that we have heard this reading from the Gospel about the Annunciation, about the conception of Jesus in the womb of Mary. And during the rest of the liturgical year, we hear the same Gospel proclaimed to us on several other occasions, especially on the 25th of March, the day which 9 months before Christmas, we celebrate the conception of Jesus. And I think the reason we're hearing this Gospel so many times during Advent is because Advent is a preparation for the celebration of the birth of Christ, the coming of God among us, the pitching of his tent with us, as St. John says in his Gospel. Why do we need to be reminded of that? Well, I think it's because we make so much of Christmas, and Christmas in many ways can be very remote from us. A child born in the stable, poverty, shepherds, magi, all of that can seem almost like a fairy tale story. But the reality is that God has come to us and has become one of us in order to draw us more consciously into the life that he has given us. Because the truth of the matter is, at the very basis of all that we celebrate at Christmas is that God, the Creator, has really taken on the life of a creature in order to share his godly life with all of us. I have a friend who never, ever sends me a Christmas card. But on the 25th of March, 9 months before Christmas, he always sends me a card to remind us of the fact that we are living the life of God because God has willed to really share human existence. We pray for peace all the year, but we pray for it especially at the coming of him whom we call the Prince of Peace. And in this time of our lives, when there are so many violent wars raging around the world, within our own country, our government, among our own people, there is dissension. We really have to heed the message of the conception and the birth of Jesus among us. The message of Christmas, I think, for us today. Stop acting as if you are not living the life of God himself. And what is the life of God? It's a life of outgoing love for everyone, a constant concern for the well-being of us. And that's what he calls us to do, to live a life of constant care for each other, a constant concern for the well-being of every other person, especially those that we meet directly in our lives, beginning with our families and rippling out into all the world. Perhaps the problems that we face in our world today are caused because the ripples are not strong enough to go out to reach everyone, which brings back the whole Christmas scene to us. The love of God has been poured into our lives, and he calls us to pour it out on everyone.